Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Retirement Savings Program for Central United States, presented by the Aga Khan Economic Planning Board. My name is Azra Bandali, and I will be your moderator for this morning's session. We hope that you find this session being presented today helpful and informative. Before we get started, I'd like to go through a few housekeeping items. Please ensure that you are on mute. We encourage you all to submit questions in the chat function, as we will have some time at the end for Q&A session. The session will be recorded and sent out. We appreciate your participation. Today's session will be about 2 hours long. We will start with a retirement savings presentation for 1 hour, and then we have the opportunity to learn more about our national partners, Charles Schwab, and how you can open a retirement account with our Charles Schwab representatives. We hope you stay for the entire duration of today's session, as there is a lot of useful information. To kick things off, I'd like to first introduce Chairman for AKEPB Central, Ali Munji, to say a few words.
Thank you, Ezra. Yali Madad, everyone. I first want to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to the volunteers, our representatives from Charles Schwab, and the Aga Khan Economic Planning Board for the United States, leadership that has made this program possible today. Maulana Hashimam has emphasized quality of life time and time again as a priority for his Jamaat. Growing old is not an option. We don't have a choice, but we do have choices that will greatly affect our quality of life for the rest of our life. The question isn't at what age we want to retire, rather what is the quality of life we want to have through our retirement. Our humble hope is that the program will provide the Jamaat the tools and access to not only begin planning, but rather begin taking action towards retirement savings. Again, I cannot thank the volunteers and our national leadership enough for their tireless work that has made this program possible today. Thank you again to all of our participants who joined the session today. Yali Madad.
Thank you, Chairman Ali. To get us started, I'd like to introduce our RSP presenter, Amin Mita. Amin is a financial professional with MassMutual. He has his bachelor's and master's in science and holds a CHPEB and a CPFA certificate. Currently, he serves as the National Project Manager for Retirement Savings Program for Aga Khan Economic Planning Board. With that, I will hand it over to Amin to get us started with our presentation for today.
Yali Madat, everybody. Thank you, Azra. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I hope everybody can see that. My name is Amin Mita, and thank you for joining AKEPB this Sunday morning to listen to a topic dear to all of our heart, retirement. The Retirement Savings Program is an initiative of the Aga Khan Economic Planning Board. Chairman Ali, thank you for laying the groundwork for exactly what we will be talking about today. We do not have a choice in terms of aging, and retirement is important to all of us. Please have a pen and paper ready, as there'll be lots of useful information in the seminar. Today, 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every single day. Nearly half, 46%, have no retirement savings account. Let us take a minute and reflect and think about this fact. What will be the quality of your life during retirement? How do you imagine your retirement to be? Tame su vichar karo છો તમારી retirement બારામાં? Before we get started, this presentation is for educational purposes only. Please consult with your tax and legal counsel for your individual situation. Our presentation Aga Khan Economic Planning Board तरफ से education वास्ते છે. તમારું situation પ્રમાણે તમે તમારું tax અને legal consultant સાથે કરવું જોઈએ. By the end of this presentation, you'll have 4 takeaways. What are the principles of retirement? Secondly, what are the sources of retirement income? Where will you get your income from during your retirement years? And what risks should you be considering while you're planning for your retirement? And what are some of the best practice? How do you prepare for it? Now, when you practice and you're preparing for it, this will be different for each situation, but there will be some basic guidelines that you will be able to get and use those. So let's discuss the principles. What does financial wellness mean? Having control day-to-day and month-to-month expenses. That's the first area. If you don't have control of those, you don't know where your money is going. Secondly, having the capacity to absorb financial shocks. Do you have an emergency fund that is accessible? તમારી પાસે emergency fund છે જે તમે financial તકલીફમાં હોય ત્યારે ઉપયોગ કરી શકો. Being on track to meet financial goals, having the financial freedom to make that choice. How long will your retirement last? Shukr, we have blessing of longevity. તમારી retirement કેટલી લાંબી હશે? તમે આ બાબતમાં વિચાર કર્યો છે? The average life expectancy is 76 for men and 81 for women. Women tend to live longer, so you need to plan accordingly. So this age is also increasing every time because of better healthcare, and so you need to consider what that longevity will impact you. How can you build a retirement strategy? There are 3 types of assets or buckets to have in your portfolio. Firstly, you need portfolio of assets that continue to grow in retirement. Secondly, your need of an emergency fund that is liquid and easily accessible. And thirdly, predictable income to cover necessary expenses month to month expenses through your income. તમારી retirement strategy માં જુદા-જુદા જાતના assets હોવા જોઈએ. જેમ કે assets જે દર વર્ષે grow થાય. બીજા assets જે તમે easily access કરી શકો. એટલે કે એમથી પૈસા વધારે કરી શકો. અને એવા assets જે તમને retirement માં તમારા દર મહિને ના ખર્ચા પૂરા કરી શકો. How to create a retirement nest egg? You have to firstly save regularly. And before that, you actually have to open an account. Once you open an account, then you have to save regularly monthly. Create that habit. Target 15 times your income. So જ્યારે તમે retirement में age માં પહોંચો, ત્યારે તમારા પૈસા 15 times your annual income હોવું જોઈએ. જો તમે વર્ષના 100,000 કમાવો તો તમારી પૈસા પાસે 1.5 million savings માં હોવું જોઈએ. So the rule of thumb is to replace 75% of your pre-retirement income, assuming a 5% annual growth. If you're earning 100,000 annually, your target is 1.5 million. That's why you need to start early to make sure that you have enough during retirement. What does the rule of thumb 75% mean? So if currently your monthly income is 4,000, you will need about 75%, which is 3,000 of your income during retirement. Rule of thumb એ છે કે તમને તમારી મહિનાની ઇન્કમનો 75% ઇન્કમની જરૂરત પડશે રિટાયરમેન્ટમાં. An important concept is compounding. Start saving early, and the earlier you start, the better it is. What this slide shows you that even if you start at age 20, you'll have a lot more money in your pocket for retirement. But that doesn't stop you even if you haven't started. Even if you start later, it's a good thing to start and save for retirement. તમે જલ્દી retirement વાસ્તે પૈસા ભરશો, એટલું વધારે તમારી પાસે પૈસા હશે. Each year, the returns are reinvested and adds to the principal, and that is what compounding means. Compounding no matlab tamne vyaj malse e pachu investment ma jase ane barse. The principle of doubling your money about every 10 years. So try to start it as early as you can. What's the difference between savings and investment? Savings has a reduced risk. It's easily accessible. Savings account or money market account, generally they're FDIC, so they're federal deposit insured. They're covered by government up to 250,000. The potential of risk is higher when you invest in stocks and bonds. They're more difficult to access. There's a potential for profit. There's a potential for reduction as well, or loss in the values. CDs are less accessible, as you have to break a CD and pay for a penalty. Cash value life insurance, you have to borrow but not withdraw. What are the different types of investments? Firstly, there's stocks. Stocks has an ownership in the company. There's a higher risk and a potential gain. So if you invested in something like, say, Amazon or Facebook or Apple, there's a chance of it going down, and there's a chance of profit as well. We don't know what that's going to be, but you own a portion or share of the company. Bonds are a company, is where you have borrowed money. The company has borrowed money, so it's a debt instrument and generally of lower risk. You are given a certain amount of interest rate that they have to pay. Mutual funds are diversified with stocks and bonds of different kind, and this is what most people invest in. And then there's the exchange traded funds, which are index funds, and they also have certain amount of risks as well. An important aspect when you're investing is, what is your risk tolerance? The question is, how many years do you have to retirement? Some in their 30s can be aggressive and take more risks. They have 30 or 40 years of retirement. Someone who's 60 has 5 years to retirement and cannot afford much risk, as their window is 5 to 10 years at the most. So it's important to consider what age you are, how long you have for retirement, how many years before you reach retirement, and what is the risk you're willing to take. Jare તમે તમારી retirement strategy decide કરો છો, તો તમને તમારી risk profile નું ધ્યાન રાખવું જોઈએ. જો તમારી પાસે વધારે વર્ષ ન હોય, તો પછી તમને ઓછી risk લેવી જોઈએ. This is a great slide to sort of show you what you need. You need predictable income. Where is that going to come from? That's going to be coming from your Social Security, your pension, your annuities, and it's going to go towards paying for that monthly income, necessary expenses such as housing, food, healthcare, and other expenses on a month-to-month basis. There is income from assets. So if you have stocks, bonds, cash, and other income that you're getting from other areas of assets, you can use that for non-essential costs, such as travel, hobbies, and other things that you like to do, all the fun stuff. So it's important to diversify out and to use, to make sure that you have income coming for different uses in every places. What are the sources of income? This is important that you look at where you don't have your eggs in one basket. You need to diversify out. So if there's one area that's down, you are getting income from another place. So let's take a look at the areas where your income will be likely coming from, all right? The first is IRA, traditional, or Roth. If you've been saving in there, that would be one of your sources of income. 401ks is another retirement type account. Social Security, which is the federal program, which will give you a certain amount of income as well. Annuities is another form. And there are other sources such as your business or life insurance and so forth. Right. So what are IRAs? IRAs are individual retirement accounts. You do not need to work for an employer provided you have earned income. So even if you have a business, you are able to open an account and save on a regular basis for it. There's also 401k, which is provided by an employer, and for that, you can open an account with that through your employer. So, and there are many other kinds of other retirement accounts, which we'll touch on. Let's go to a poll question and see how it is. Azra, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. So we have our first poll question. Jamaati members, if you see there is a pop-up that shows up on your screen, the first question that we have is, a traditional IRA account is funded with blank dollars, tax dollars, and are blank at withdrawal. So we have our first option, Option A is a traditional IRA account is funded with pre-tax dollars and you are taxed at withdrawal. Or option B is a traditional IRA account is funded after tax dollars and you are not taxed at withdrawals. So if we could all just take a second to select our answer, and we will end the poll shortly. Amazing. So we've ended the poll. The results, which are quite impressive, is 100% of people got it correct. A traditional IRA account is funded with pre-tax dollars and you will be taxed at withdrawal.
Wow, that is amazing, Azra. That is great that everybody understands that it is a traditional, is a pre-taxed. And just to repeat that, traditional IRAs are funded with pre-tax dollars and you're taxed at withdrawal. Roth IRAs are funded with after-tax dollars, qualified for distribution and not with withdrawal. That is amazing that our participants know the difference and the deductions and so forth. So with that, we're going to move on. And so what are the contribution limits for this year? You can, if you're under the age of 50, you can contribute $6,000. That's the maximum that you can contribute. If you're 50 years and older, you can contribute an additional $1,000. So that's a maximum of $7,000. So that allows you to, each year, these numbers change. But in this case, the 2022 and 2021 are the same numbers for this year. So please keep in mind when you are contributing for this year, make sure if you can max out that you are able to do so. What are the advantages of tax benefits between traditional and IRA? Tax advantages of tax benefits are today that you get a deduction in your taxes. If it's Roth, you enjoy tax-free withdrawals in the future. And then if you think your tax bracket will be much lower when you retire, then you should maybe think about traditional. But if you think your tax bracket will be higher when you retire, then maybe it's a Roth. So depending on your situation, it's a different solution for it. Remember, there are certain penalties. In a traditional, if you try to withdraw before the age of 59 and a half, you're going to be taxed on it. However, after 59 and a half, you can make a withdrawal and there's no penalty. The penalty is normally 10%. But remember, when you take money out, you will, as you all know, you'll have to pay taxes on it. In comparison, the Roth IRA penalty there is no penalty at all. There is a penalty for up to the first 5 years. After that, it's tax-free and there's no penalty. And at the age of 59 and a half. There's a mandatory withdrawal after the age of 72 for traditional IRA, which is called RMD, required minimum withdrawals. And then there is, and for Roth, there is no required because you've paid your taxes already on it. Let's show the difference in terms of how a traditional and what you could get monthly. So if you put in $6,000 every year and you put it in for 40 years, that gives you $240,000. And if it grew at 7% compound return, the amount of money you would have is about 1.2, almost $1.3 million. When you retire and you start to withdraw money out of it, you'll be taxed on it. So if you withdrew and you went, say, in a tax bracket of 22%, then you would get a monthly withdrawal of about $8,369 per month, or a little bit over $8,000 for 10 years. And so this is after taxes. So one, there's no penalty, but you will be charged for federal and state taxes when you start withdrawing. Let's compare that to a Roth account. If you put $6,000 every year, and the same thing, you build that up and you have 40 years, you'd have put in $240,000. Again, at 7% compound return, it'll grow to about 1.22 million, a little bit over, right? Since you pay taxes already, the government only charges you taxes once. You don't have to pay taxes when you're withdrawing. So now you can withdraw and you will be getting $10,730 per month for 10 years. That's about approximately $2,000 a month more, right? So that's $24,000 a year. So maybe you want a combination, maybe you need one or the other. It depends on your situation, and you should get financial and accounting, whoever your CPA is, consult with them, and then also your financial advisor to see what option best works for you or is going to work for you depending on your situation. There are other types of IRAs. There's a simple IRA, which is also tax deferred. It's an employee or an employer, and it's for businesses with less than 100 employees. You can contribute $14,000 for 2022, and if you're over 50, you can have an additional $3,000. That's $17,000 altogether. In this case, the employer and the employee can both be contributing, and it's tax deferred. There's also a SEP IRA. SEP IRA is also tax deferred and also for employers. It's for any size of business. You can put 25% off your salary as a contribution up to a maximum of $61,000 for 2022. So remember that it's $61,000. And so there are different options available and different plans differing on your situation. So you need to consult with your accountant to see which is going to work, and then also consult with your financial advisor to help you with that planning. An important area is spousal IRA. If you don't have earned income, as a spouse, suppose you're a homemaker, but your spouse is having an income and is getting W-2 income and you file jointly, you can open a spousal IRA account. So it's important if one spouse is not working and earning income that you do open another account that you have. To be eligible for a spousal IRA, you must be married and file a joint tax return. You can structure a spousal IRA as a traditional or a Roth. Either the way, the spouse with the earned income can contribute to the IRAs of both spouses. You're also eligible for credit. It's called the Savers Tax Credit by IRS. If you're over the age of 18 or older, if you're not a full-time student, if you've not claimed as a dependent on another person's return, and you contribute to a traditional or Roth or 401k or any of the other retirement accounts. The amount of credit you can get is 50% of your contribution or 20% or 10%, depending on your annual gross income and the amount of retirement, amount of contribution you make into your retirement account. So let's have a look at that. If you are married and filing jointly, and you're earning a gross income of not more than $41,000, then you get a 50% of your contribution. So if you are earning between $41,000 and $44,000, then you get a 20% deduction and a credit. If you're earning between $41,000 and $68,000, then you get 10%. And if you are earning more than $68,000, the IRS does not give you a credit. How does that work out in numbers? Let's take a look. So in scenario one, if we take a look, this person is having a taxable income below $41,000. And suppose they put $4,000, $2,000 for themselves, $2,000 for their spouse, a total of $4,000 as a contribution into a retirement account. They get a savers credit of 50%, which is $2,000. So before the income tax due, before the credit was $2,500. Now, because they contributed, your income taxes due to the IRS is only $500. So it's a really great advantage to take. Do talk to your accountant to see if you're eligible for this. The second scenario is if you're earning between $41,000 and $44,000, then your annual contribution is $4,000 same, but you get a 20% tax credit. Now you're getting after the credit, you're paying $1,700, right? So this is a good way to maximize the credits that you get. And please do check with your accountant or your CPA to help you with this. And I think we're ready for another poll question, Azra.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So the next question that we have is, using the table below, what is the phase out AGI, annual gross income, for a couple that is married and filing jointly in 2022? So again, this is the chart that you have to use below. And using the chart, we would like you to find the phase out AGI for a couple that is married and filing jointly in the year 2022. I'll give it just a few more minutes. Okay, the poll is now closed. And the correct answer, as you can see on the screen right here, is $129,000. And I'll let Amin Uncle continue.
Great, Azra, thank you. So it's important to know your contribution limits and your phase out. So if you're married and filing jointly, then you have to, if you're earning more than 129,000, then you won't be able to contribute to the Roth IRAs and the IRAs. So check with your accountant as to where your annual gross income is going to be and what you're eligible for. And you have to take, if you're single, then it's $78,000. If it's married filing separately, then it's $10,000. So it's important that you have a look. And if you're an individual and your spouse is not working, then instead of 129, it's 214,000. So it's important that you take a look as to where you are. And if you go to the Ismaili.USA or the Ismaili Chamber of Commerce, you will be able to see this article, and it's also published on the Insight that allow you to give that contribution. You can also go to the www.irs.gov's website for these numbers. Okay. Let's talk about what is a traditional 401k. These are employer-sponsored retirement savings plan. It allows workers to invest in pre-tax dollars from their paychecks. Many employers contribute funds to the plan as well. So, જો તમારી કંપની 401 મેચ કરતી હોય તો આ ફ્રી પૈસા છે અને તમને મેક શ્યોર કરવું જોઈએ કે તમે આ લાભ લઈ શકે. So how does the traditional 401k work? So you get a paycheck every month and you contribute into your 401k. That's the plan established by your company that you work for. And then you get a tax deduction on those contributions. And often, depending on the company, they will match what you contribute based on the rules that they have. You have to maybe be there working for 1 year or more. Check out those requirements on your benefits package so that you know exactly how much they match and when you're able to, what you're able to contribute and take advantage of it. Right? What are the contribution limits for 401k? So if you're under the age of 50, the 2022 contribution is $20,500. If you are 50 years and older, you can contribute $27,000. So that's $6,500 more if you're over. That is to help you catch up on for your retirement since you have a shorter window. Another source of income is Social Security. It's a federal program. and social insurance that provides benefits to people who are retired and have certain disabilities or health. You can go to your Social Security website, .gov, make sure it's the official website, and you can create an account and you can take a look at how much you're eligible for. And I think, Azra, we are ready for another poll question here.
Great. So our next poll question that we have is, what is the earliest age you can retire to receive Social Security benefits? Again, what is the earliest age you can retire to receive Social Security benefits? Give it just a few more minutes. Okay. Man, I mean, Uncle, we have a lot of smart people on this call today. 100% of the people got it correct. The correct answer is 62 years old.
Wow, that is amazing. That's awesome. So definitely you had this information, you know, at 66. But do you know that if you, at 62 is the earliest, but do you know if you wait till the age 70, you get 8% more additional growth in how much benefit that you will get? So you may be able to retire early at 62, but your full retirement age is going to be at your, depending on when you were born. So if you were going to say, supposedly get 2,000 at your full retirement age, you're going to get 25% less in benefit and monthly benefit from Social Security at the age of 62 if you're going to retire early. However, if you retire at age 70, every year you get 8% more. Try to look at those things in terms of what is going to affect you in retirement. The longer you wait, the more Social Security you will get. All right. And this is going to show you that it's a big impact. So here it is. At 62, if you retire, you're going to get $750. But if you retire at age 70, you're going to get almost double, a little bit less than double, about $1,320. So wouldn't you rather wait and get more money from Social Security? It depends on your situation. So consider that as part of your equation of when you're planning for your retirement. Other sources of income include your business ownership, your investment income, income from part-time work or hobbies, real estate income, life insurance, and annuities. All these are diversification and help you to get income from different sources during retirement. An important part is to consider the risks. What are the risks to consider? And there are many areas. So let's take a look at those. All right. There's longevity. Everybody is living a lot longer, as we saw from the slide earlier. The average is, 76 and 81 for women. So, and that is increasing because of better healthcare. Inflation is another. We're looking at inflation being the highest currently, 7%, and hasn't been that for the last 40 years. So that's means that you are able, things are going to cost more and when you go to buy them. Your healthcare, those costs are going up as well. So in terms of premium, in terms of the care that you get, those costs are also going to increase. Asset allocation, what sort of assets that you have and how they're growing, and then withdrawal. All right. So let's take each one. What's the possibility of you outliving your money? If you're 65 today, 3 out of 5 people will reach the age of 80. And so that longevity is increasing because of the healthcare and the quality of life that we currently have. How is inflation? Inflation is currently higher, and because of that's the pandemic, the supply chain, And the cost of buying things, I mean, if you go to the grocery store, you go to fill gas, you know that it costs you more, right? So having a look at that to say, okay, well, my dollar that used to buy a gallon of milk, now it used to be about $1 in the 1960s, and now in the 2000s, I'm paying almost $5, depending on the type of milk, between $4 and $5, and which part of the country you live in. So that's the cost of inflation, all right? Healthcare, those costs are going up, and not only in your condition. So if you are retired and you have aged, you may have an acute health condition, which requires maybe urgent medical care. And then chronic care, which is consistent if you have Alzheimer's or dementia. So the cost of things like long-term care, it's almost $225 a day, or almost $7,000. And this is for a semi-private room based on 2016. And obviously that cost has gone up as well. Right? Medicare, it's a federal health insurance program, depending on what your income is and what your assets are, whether you qualify for it. And so those you need to plan and look for it, and what's it's going to cost you to be eligible for that, and the cost overall. Okay. Asset allocations, they're different investments that react market fluctuation. It's important to be diversified. So you not only have your business and income, but also what type of stocks you have, what type of annuities. Are you diversified within your business in one kind? Do you just have C-stores, or do you have other types of business as well, like real estate? Do you have hotels? Do you have restaurants? What is the other kind of diversification within the asset groups that you have? Do you have bonds? Do you have stocks? It's important to look at that and to diversify that out, right? And then what is the rate of withdrawal risk? So when you are retired, how much money are you going to be pulling out from your different income sources? The general rule is a 4% rule, where you're taking out 4% per year annually from your retirement that you need. So it's important that you look at that. And with longevity, will you run out of money, or will the investment take that? Or will your income be reduced because the stock market is down? These are all aspects that are going to affect your risk. So take a look at those things and see if that was going to, how it's going to impact you, the different risk areas that you have. Right? How do you prepare for retirement? What are some of the things that you need to look at? All right, so let's take a look at that. Get organized, get your affairs in order, make sure the bank information is in one place, make sure your investment statements are there, and your real estate, your accounts. Also, make sure that you have the beneficiaries that are updated as well for each of the areas. Make sure you have reduced debt as much as possible, and also take care of those things. Also, establish directives. It's important to have a will. Especially if you're one family and you are young with children, definitely. But even if you're not married, you're single, or you're a widow, or you're divorced, whatever the situation is, you should have an up-to-date will. You should review that about between 3 and 5 years and update that will to make sure that it's current with the state and federal regulations that you need. Have an up-to-date health directive. We live in a pandemic. So understand that if you're in a hospital and you couldn't visit family, who's going to make decisions for you? If you're in critical care, are your wishes going to be taken care of? So if you do not have a health directive, your spouse or your child or any family member will not be able to help make those decisions for you. So it's important to have a health directive. And then also, you can have a power of attorney. So if you're not able to make financial decisions, or you have Alzheimer's or something else, who's going to be making decisions financially and for taking care of you if that needs to be. So you need to have a power of attorney as well. And in terms of emotional preparation, engage in activities such as exercise and hobbies. What would you like to do? What is going to make you happy that's going to be having you? Do you volunteer part-time? Do you want to travel? Do you want to visit? Think about those things that you want to do and put that into your plan with your retirement, that this is what it's going to cost me. This is how I'm going to be able to do it. Where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from not my regular income, but my other discretionary income that I'll have coming in. All right. And I think we are ready for a survey, Azra, and that comes to the end of my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Amin. That was a lot of really great information. We will be sending out a survey within the chat, but we'd also like to continue our session. Next up, we have Charles Schwab representatives who have graciously joined us today to go through the different types of accounts that they have and how to open a retirement account with Charles Schwab. I'd like to pass it over to Swati Kumar and Tiger Sidnick to take over. Thank you both.
Thank you, Amin, for all that great information. So my name is Swati Kumar. I'm an investment consultant at Charles Schwab. I'm very excited to be here with you today and to talk about how automated investing can help build, monitor, and rebalance your portfolio so you don't have to do that work for yourself. And today we will cover the best of people, planning, and how technology work together. That's a Schwab's innovative way of making investing easier for us all. And so Charles Schwab, it was founded by Chuck Schwab, and he founded our company more than 40 years ago. He had a very radical idea where, there's always a better way to invest. Schwab was built around the idea of always putting the client first. And in our business, we're always here to serve people. The idea continues to shape our modern company strategy today. And in staying true to our heritage of, challenging the way of investing, we continue to innovate on behalf of our clients. And that way we can stay guided by the same investing principles, which we'll touch on. And Amin did a great job of touching on most of them already. But also the power of investing and how we can really change people's lives, the costs that matter. And, I'll keep saying this, how investing should be available to everyone. So today, Schwab offers a range of investment advice options, but today we're primarily going to focus on our automated investing solutions. So when we hear about automated investing, which can be referred to digital advice or a robo-advisor. The definition of that is a robo-advisor helps to build, monitor, and automatically rebalance a diversified portfolio based off what your risk tolerance is, your time horizon. When people hear robo-advisor, sometimes they think it's this computer technology, just taking control and trading within the account. But when you take a deeper dive into that, it's not the way it works at Schwab. We leverage the technology to automate the very tedious but important tasks behind the scenes. But really, we have a team of investment professionals through our Schwab Center of Financial Research, and they do the hard work of designing the portfolios and managing the program for you. So you heard me mention the investing principles. Schwab's automated investing solutions have been carefully designed to align with Schwab's investing principles to make sure that you're on track towards your goals. These principles have been developed, like I mentioned, the Schwab Center of Financial Research, and they represent a very time-tested, straightforward approach to investing. And I'm just going to go through these 7 investing principles here very briefly for you all. Number 1, establish a plan based off your goals. With automated investing, which is the topic we're talking about today, goal setting is the heart of what we do. You can set a goal for a specific portfolio. We also, and I'll touch on this even deeper, Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium, where you get unlimited access to a certified financial planner. You're able to discuss what your goals are and build a very realistic, customized approach, a roadmap for your future. And we'll talk about that more within this presentation. But the next principle here is start saving and investing today. Without savings, there's not really a lot of investing that we can do. At Schwab, we always reiterate it's not your timing of the market, but the time in the market, which is key. Timing the market is nearly impossible, especially with the lifestyle that we live. I mean, how many of us work jobs where we're actually able to sit in front of a computer and trade and take that time all day? So that's why our automated investing offers a range of professionally created, diversified portfolios based off your needs. That way we can do that work for you. The next one, so I just talked about number 3. Number 4, minimize taxes and fees. I mean, the most successful investors are ones that are aware of, what fees and taxes that they're paying. And this can be kind of a holistic approach when you think about your utilities, your bills, your monthly subscriptions that you forgot to cancel. Like, really, how much money are you spending that you can really save in? That's really in your control. And then, number 5, build protection against significant losses. I mean, like I said, we can't predict what the markets can do, but we can always have a very strategic, diversified core strategy to make sure that we're doing all that we can that's in our control. And then rebalance your portfolio regularly. That's really important. That way we're not letting the market determine what our risk is of our portfolio. And I'll get into an example there for us here as well. And then number 7, ignore the noise. If there's anything that we've learned from this pandemic, there's a lot of news, a lot of resources, a lot of information that's being thrown at us. I mean, investors that liquidated and sold out March of 2020 are truly feeling the pain and missed out growth opportunity. So, it's always important to ignore the noise and stick to your strategic plan. It's very tempting to watch day-to-day performance, but it's also important to remember that markets fluctuate all the time, and what happens in the short term has nothing to do with your long-term goal. So progress towards your goal is more important than short-term performance. So we always want to ignore the noise by staying true to our goals, our risk tolerance, and our timetable that Amin did a great job of explaining earlier. So having a financial plan will always make you feel more confident, regardless of how much money you actually have. Just going through here, and I mean, these are a lot of categories that speak very deep depending on our situation. I mean, having an emergency fund, you'll see that investors that have had a plan, they have that emergency fund, because we all know that things happen. At Schwab, we recommend, at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses should be in cash. And Amin even spoke earlier about that emergency fund. Credit card balances. I mean, if you don't have an emergency fund, most likely you're leveraging credit, and that turns into a snowball. So you'll see that investors that have a plan and have taken ownership of their situation, tend to not have a very deep credit situation. And then I just talked about ignoring the noise. When you have a plan and you have awareness over your overall situation, you're less likely to liquidate during volatile times and take opportunity of the growth from the market. And especially with inflation and everything that we're going through right now, I mean, it's not a very suitable option to just be sitting in cash, depending on the situation. And like I mentioned, I mean, have you looked at what the total cost of your subscriptions are, things that you forgot to cancel, how much you're paying for specific services? The key word here is awareness as far as how much it is that you're actually paying. And then, rebalancing your portfolio. How much time are you taking to look at your investments and make sure that everything is properly allocated based off your specific needs? No two investors are exactly the same. So it's very important to rebalance your portfolio. And if, you know, it takes time, it takes math, it can be tedious, but that's what our automated investing solutions are here for. So Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, you know, what we're mainly here to talk about today. To get started, and Tiger will go through an example of setting this up. You know, we're going to ask you, you know, what's your main goal for this account? Is it to save for retirement? Is it a specific expense that's coming up? Maybe something special? I mean, you know, depending on your situation, it could be long-term wealth. Are you looking to leave a legacy for your family? Or are you in retirement? You need to start withdrawing from your portfolio and you need income to supplement other income that you're currently receiving. At the end of the day, success is achieving your goal, you know, while taking on a level of risk that you're comfortable with. So anything that we do regarding Schwab Intelligent Portfolios is always going to be goal-based. The next thing is diversification. I mean, we never want to put all of our eggs in one basket. So like I said, and I'm going to keep saying these words, goal, risk tolerance, and time horizon. Based off what those needs are, you'll get a diversified portfolio of ETFs, which will give you that broad diversification at a low cost. So like I said, these portfolios are diversified globally. So you'll get stocks, bonds, commodities, cash. How those things will be allocated within your portfolio really depend on your risk tolerance. Like I said, no two investors are the same. And the keyword diversification, one of Schwab's investing principles. Sometimes your portfolio can have up to 20 asset classes. Obviously, some asset classes can be more volatile than others, you know, for comparing stocks versus bonds, which is why it's always important to rebalance your portfolio, which the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio will take care of. The next thing is discipline. I mean, financial discipline is something that can be applied towards several categories of your life, whether it's health, routine. In this case, we're just talking about discipline, but I mean, even talked about, you know, what type of quality of life do you want? But just talking about finances right now, obviously, you know, fluctuation happens. It's very easy to just turn on the news, you know, whether you're watching Fox News or CNN, and, you know, automatically respond towards your portfolio and make decisions that may not be very suitable depending on your needs. So just, you know, the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio with automated investing portfolios are monitored daily, and it'll automatically do that rebalancing for you, which in the long term can really help to reduce risk and potentially improve risk-adjusted returns. And then the last thing, efficient. Like I mentioned, all of these ETFs, they're chosen by our Schwab Center of Financial Research. But we're also very we're very efficient and strategic as far as which ETFs we're selling based off market fluctuation, depending on the size of the portfolio, and if it's a taxable account, so a non-retirement account. The Schwab Intelligent Portfolios does have that technology called tax loss harvesting, if that applies to your situation. And just off a side note, I mean, this is a lot of information that I'm sharing with you all. Like I said, no two investors are the same. So our role today, we're here as a resource. So at any time, you can request a one-on-one meeting, and we can go through these topics deeper with you based off your situation. And then going to the next slide, we all know markets are volatile. I mean, we're living in a global pandemic right now, and if anyone's recently filled up their tank, they've experienced inflation and everything that's going on right now. And obviously, you know, with the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, we're not trying to hit a home run and outperform the markets. We're just giving you a very diversified core strategy, which if you see in the long term, unless you're that type of person that can sit in front of your computer and day trade all day, it's not very suitable unless you're in something that's more diversified. This is your core strategy. If you want to do that trading, if you want to be responsive towards the Reddit, the GameStop hoopla, that's fine. You can be that explorative investor, but only if you have that core strategy that's backing you up. And then I talked about rebalancing and the importance of that. Just an example of rebalancing. So let's say that you say that based off your risk tolerance, your needs, Schwab recommends that a portfolio for you should be 60% stocks, 40% bonds. And let's say in this example, we're looking at October of 2007. Now we all know what happened in 2008. So let's say an investor did not rebalance between 2007 and 2009. The portfolio would have shifted almost to 40% stocks, 60% bonds, because without rebalancing, the portfolio would have lost that recovery potential because the investor did not take time to rebalance their portfolio and they took more risk than they were willing to. So if you don't go in there and rebalance your portfolio, you're letting the market just, you're basically losing your autonomy, letting the market take that control for you. All of a sudden you've taken on more risk, more loss, and now you don't believe in the, investing principles and the importance of, ignoring the noise, which is why it's important to rebalance. And just one of those things that Schwab Intelligent Portfolio will assist you with. So Schwab's automated investing solutions. So I've, given you a brief summary on how that all works. Schwab has a very long heritage when it comes to innovation and really working to reduce costs and complexity for individual investors like ourselves. And this goes all the way back to when Chuck Schwab founded the firm more than 40 years ago. And it's really changed the way that investors have access to specific solutions. Schwab's always committed to keeping costs low. Schwab's automated investing solutions. This is combined with decades of expertise in investing management, along with innovative technology to make things even more accessible and low cost to us all. So now I'm going to just take a deeper dive on the solutions itself. So there's the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios and the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium. One thing I want to be transparent with right away, minimum investment for the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio is $5,000. There's no advisory fee or commission. Today we're really focused on talking about IRAs. As Amin mentioned, your contribution per tax year can either be $6,000 or $7,000, which would automatically make you eligible for the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now. Based off your personal situation, if you're not in the situation of being able to contribute $5,000 in an account right away, let us know. We can set time up with you individually, one-on-one, and talk about other resources we have available here at Schwab to build you to the starting point. We have portfolio builder tools, but it's a deeper conversation that I can't really get into today. But like I said, no two investors are the same. So that's why individuals like myself here at Schwab, we're here for you to make sure that you're still on track for your goals. So the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio, the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium, the actual investments, the actual portfolio, exactly the same. With Schwab Intelligent Portfolio, minimum is $5,000, no advisory fee, no commission. With the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium, like I said, once again, investments, portfolio, growth opportunity between the two, exactly the same, but with the premium, minimum is $25,000. You pay a one-time planning fee, and then afterwards it's a subscription, just like your Netflix, your utility, other services that you're involved with. But you get unlimited access to a certified financial planner. And so this kind of reiterates what I just went through. And I really want to emphasize the portfolios between the two are the same. But with the premium, you get unlimited access to a certified financial planner. For those of you that aren't familiar with the certified financial planner, I mean, CFP, it's starting to turn into the new college degree requirement in the financial services industry. Schwab, we have a planning consultant department. They're centralized. Their role specifically is to have these deep planning meetings with clients. Their role is to, let me learn more about your goals. Let's create a roadmap so we can make sure that you're able to accomplish those goals. When it comes to, should I use Schwab Intelligent Portfolios or Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium? It really depends on your situation. So an investor that, let's say, is single, in their late 20s, no debt, not looking to purchase a home anytime soon, their situation is much more simple than someone that's, let's say, in their 50s, has children that they're looking to send to college, looking to retire in 15 years. Eventually, we will all have that deeper planning need, but it's important to recognize that need before deep financial life events happen, because we all know things happen, but it's important to be prepared for that ahead of time. If you are in a situation where, okay, I don't have the ability to have $25,000, our centralized planning team, we are all able to offer comprehensive plans, and that's just a one-time $300 planning fee. And then any one of our advisors like myself, we're able to offer you a retirement plan. There's no cost for that. Any deep planning questions should be directed towards me or any one of our Schwab professionals on this call. But we just want to make sure that you're aware of all planning resources available to you here at Schwab. And then I just talked about this, the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium. I'm going to say this again. Portfolio investments are exactly the same as the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio, which there's no cost towards. Here, like I said, you're just getting unlimited one-on-one access to a certified financial planner, just to make sure that you have that deeper confidence that I mentioned earlier in this call. And I mean, we're just going into a deeper, categories of financial planning. And then, we talked a lot about saving and allocation, but eventually there's time to start taking withdrawals out of your portfolio. So based off your situation, we have Schwab Intelligent Income, where we're just making very strategic withdrawals out of your portfolio that are tax efficient, but also make sure that, here's all this work I've done to save money for retirement. Let me make sure that this will last me until my life expectancy, which is a reality that we all need to think about. I mean, we discussed life expectancy versus a male and female earlier. And so when it comes to, do I want to open just a regular account at Schwab? If you're to open a regular IRA at Schwab, there's no cost. There's no minimum requirement involved. Schwab's committed towards keeping costs low. But if you're interested in the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio Premium, you want to think about, okay, what's my lifestyle like? How much time do I spend on my investments? What's my confidence level? What level of support do I need? Because we're always here to help. And just to review what we've discussed today, I mean, there's Schwab's 7 investing principles that align with our automated investing. If you Google Schwab's automated investing principles, those 7 will be reiterated to you there as well. The investing principles, automated investing, it basically takes the wheel from you to make sure that you have that core diversified strategy that's keeping you on track towards your goals. You can choose a level of support you need, whether that's being a self-directed client, intelligent portfolio premium. With the intelligent portfolio premium, you can always, schedule that appointment with the certified financial planner, even prior to COVID. That's a digital experience. That way they're able to give access to all clients geographically. But if you have any questions on this, our Schwab team, we're here for you. So just reach out to your contact and they'll be able to set up an appointment for you. And then, like I said, at Schwab, we're always committed towards putting the client first, regardless. Realize, for some people, they may be a doctor and their expertise is the body and medical well-being, but it may not be finances. Vice versa for us, our expertise is financial planning and investing guidance. So we're here for you, regardless of what your needs are. And I'm just going to pass it off now to Tiger, who's just going to show us an example of what it's like to set up an intelligent portfolio.
Awesome, Swati, thank you so much for the presentation there. There's a lot of great information. And again, that may have gone through pretty quickly. We will have a question and answer after the fact that you can go through and ask us individually going through this one. The same with what I'm going to be doing here is I might be going a little quickly here, but again, you will have the time after the fact or even to schedule a meeting with us later on to go through this. So where I like to do is I always start off at our main page. This is just schwab.com. This will take you to our homepage here. And since we're going to be going through and opening up the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios account here today, that's what I'm going to go through. If you decide either you don't want to use the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios and want to manage on your own, or if you haven't hit that $5,000 minimum yet, there is up here at the right this open an account button, this nice orange button there. That can help you open up just a standard account. So where we'll start off under this advice tab up at the top here, just automated investing. This takes you to the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios. I know in the chat we did get a few questions about it, which I hopefully was able to answer. But on this page, it's got a ton of information on here. And especially down here at the bottom, there's going to be the common questions section. It's really going to answer a lot of those basic questions you have that either haven't been opened or answered here in this presentation, or while going through the opening process may not have been answered. So to go ahead and get started, we'll go ahead and click the Get Started button. And this takes you into the Intelligent tool here. It has a few disclosures you have to go through first. We're not actually opening the account, so you don't have to go through these, but just make sure you read through them and understand what you're doing. And then kind of like Swati had mentioned, there are the two options that we start off with, whether you're just looking to grow the investments or if you will be taking out the income. For the presentation today, I'm going to be just going ahead and doing the grow investments for future goals option. And then, of course, as the conversation is about retirement today, we'll go ahead and say saving for retirement. But if any of these are applicable to you, of course, choose the one that's most accurate. And then for this example here, I'm going to go ahead and say I have some investment experience. Don't feel bad no matter where you're at on this. Just go ahead and please answer accurately. Then when it comes to risk as related to my finances, I personally see an opportunity for great returns, so that's how I'll answer it today. But again, all these questions, there are no wrong answers. This will edit the portfolio over here, which will be most accurate to you based on these answers. Yes, I have, because I was invested back in March of 2020, where the market did drop more than 20%. I was too busy working, so I did not go through and do any sort of reallocation. When I am thinking about important financial decisions, I do a lot of thinking beforehand, so I'm usually confident in the decisions I make. I don't regret them too frequently. And then again, because the Schwab Intelligent Portfolio just have that 5,000 minimum, we'll keep it there for now. In terms of fluctuation a year from now, I'd probably be confident with the 25 positive to negative 15% range. Let's say, things are tight right now for contributing each month. I'll just go ahead and put down $25 a month. And we'll say I don't need these funds for another 40 years. And as you can see here, this is live updating. So the projected balance based on starting with 5,000, adding $25 a month for 40 years with anticipated returns, we'd be looking at a little over $82,000 here as the estimated outcome. In this case, since we've been talking again about retirement, we'll go ahead and do the tax advantaged here. Today, I'm going to be clicking through and doing just a traditional IRA. And then in this case, based on this information, I was put here. In the tool, you do have the option to go either one up or one down. Do keep in mind, be careful doing that one, because the reason it puts you here is those questions that you did answer. So just be hesitant to go ahead and change that. But in my case, it's got me at a 64% stock, 25.5% fixed income, 2% commodities, and 8.5% cash. Me, I'd like to do a globally diversified portfolio. I want to be able to get the performance from some countries outside of the United States. Down here, it does give you a breakdown of that asset allocation and each individual percentage, even under the stocks, fixed income, etc. And if you have any questions or need some more information, if you haven't heard of these, all these are clickable. You can read about it, and there is also the Learn More button if you want to read even more about it. And this is going back to that same sheet, comparing the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios versus the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios Premium. Again, there's no advisory fee for the standard Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, and then for the premium version, it has that $300 initial planning fee, and then $30 a month for unlimited guidance. Minimums, again, $5,000 for the Intelligent Portfolios, $25,000 for premium. In this example, I just did $5,000, so we're sticking with the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios here. And then in this case, if you don't have an account yet, you'll hit New to Schwab. And again, going back into it, we are doing the traditional IRA, but of course there are all these different options here that Amin did bring up some of these for it. So just make sure to choose whichever one's best for you. And then if you did decide you wanted to switch over and do taxable, you can go ahead and change that right here. This will tell you what information you're going to need to open up the account. We do have a referral code you're able to use to potentially get some additional assets added to your account, which we will provide to you. And you'll just paste it there and click add. And then this is the part where I'm going to stop here, as that's when it gets into your personal information. Again, if you have any further follow-up or questions on that one, we're happy to answer that after in our Q&A section. And at this point, that kind of covers my portion of it going through the opening. I'll go ahead and pass this over back to Azra.
Thank you so much, Tiger and Swati. I think, Swati, you had wanted to mention something about a referral code.
Yes, thank you so much. Let me see if I'm able to share that code with you all here. So based off what you plan on making your initial contribution to be, when you open an account online, it will ask you if you have an existing code. Azra, was there a way that we were able to share this with participants so they can just copy and paste? Okay, so you have this code. Let me share with you what promotions you can receive with my code. Are you able to see what these numbers are?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously, based off how much you contribute, we've already given you the code. So we're your friend in the situation. But based off how much you contribute, these are the chances of a bonus award. A lot of people make a contribution and they get very antsy about when that bonus is coming. For compliance purposes, we set an expectation of 60 business days. But based off your situation, where your current assets are, here's just an incentive if you are looking to consolidate more assets to Schwab. But that's all I have to share regarding that.
Great. Thank you so much. And again, I put the referral code within the chat as well. So if you guys want to save that referral code for later today or for a later time, that would be a really great thing. Thank you again, Swati and Tiger, for going through all that great information about Charles Schwab. So at this time, what we'd like to do is we'd like to do two different activities simultaneously. Firstly, we are going to be partnering with Charles Schwab reps that are available right now to discuss any questions that you might have while opening a retirement account with Charles Schwab. So if you'd like to have a private discussion with a Charles Schwab rep member, you can message the Council for USA in the chat, and they will put you in a private breakout room within the Zoom with a Charles Schwab rep member. And for those who would just like to continue to learn more, we will simultaneously be having a Q&A session with our RSP presenter, Amin Mita. So Amin, if it's possible for you to share your screen with the last slide of the presentation.
Sure, Azra, let me go back.
Thank you.
That slide.
Wonderful. Thank you. So just as a recap, if you'd like to open an account with Charles Schwab today, you can stay on the line and you can visit the Charles Schwab website that's here at the top, http://intelligent.schwab.com, and you can create your account on your own. If you have any questions while opening an account or would like to talk to a Charles Schwab member, please use the Zoom chat to message Counsel for USA to speak with a Charles Schwab representative in a private Zoom breakout group. And if you would like to open an account on a later date, you can do so by emailing our RSP team, rsp.epb.usa@gmail.com, and we will help make time for you to meet with the Charles Schwab rep. So again, you can create your account on your own today. While visiting the website, you can set some time with a Charles Schwab representative currently in our Zoom breakout room by messaging Counsel for USA. And you can also schedule a free session later on by emailing rsp.epb.usa@gmail.com. So at this time, I'd like to give it a minute for anybody who would like to create an account to go ahead and message Counsel for USA if not. And then if not, in about 1 minute, we will start our Q&A. And for those Jamaati members who have questions, please enter your questions within the chat function, and we will make sure that we get those answered. So we'll give it about 30 seconds. All right. I think we are ready to start our Q&A. Okay. So again, for those who'd like to submit a question, please submit it within the chat function and we will make sure that we can answer your questions. So, Amin, the first question that we have is, I'm a business owner and my annual gross income is above $300,000 per year and is over the contribution limit for an IRA or a Roth IRA. What options do I have available to me?
Great question. So there are many plans that are available. And what you can do is to go ahead and have things like a 401k, a solo one if you're in business or if you're self-employed. You can also have a simple or a SEP. You should consult with your accountant and a financial professional who can help you prepare and plan for these things based on the items that you have that are taking place for you.
Great. The next question that we have is, can we open a retirement for children? They are full-time students and do not have an income of their own at the moment.
You can if they're earning an income. So if you have somebody who is marketing for you or working, your child is 16, 17, and they're helping you with your business and getting an income, then you are able to contribute within your and create an IRA account for them as well. The key is that they have to have an earned income.
Awesome. Next question is, can high earners contribute to IRA?
High earners depends on what their earning is. So one of the things, and I think we have a slide that shows you the contribution limits that we had a question on. So in the Smiley Insight and the Smiley USA, you can go in and look at the contribution limits and where you fit into it. So talk to your accountant, and if you're making over 129,000, then you may not be eligible for an IRA if you're married and filing jointly, and you can go ahead and apply to, the plan then would be to contribute and have a 401k plan where you would be able to have that income and to be able to go ahead and contribute in that way. So it depends on your income and your tax situation. And so you do need professional consultation to be able to do that.
Great. We have a follow-up on the question that we had earlier. Can kids making money from small jobs like a lemonade stand, can they start an IRA?
You have to have enough income to be able to justify that. So it depends on if you have a lemonade stand, how often do you have that and how much money does that child earn from that? So if it's just as a hobby for one weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday in a year, then no. But if you have it every weekend or you have it once a month on a regular basis and you have it, then maybe yes. So what I would do is I would get your accountant's feedback on it to see what is allowable, and because those rules also change as well.
Great. The next question we have is, if I'm married, can I open a separate retirement account for my wife who is a homemaker?
Definitely. We covered that in the slide as well, where we have the spousal IRA. So if one person is earning only, you can open a account for your spouse, and you can use the earnings of that one spouse to open that account.
Okay, great. Is it better to pay taxes later when you are in a lower tax bracket?
It depends on your situation. I think the thing is, what tax bracket are you going to be when you retire? Is it going to be a higher tax bracket, or is it going to be a lower tax bracket? If it's how much are you earning right now, and do you have a lot of tax consequences? So this is tax planning, where you need to have your accountant also within the loop and say, okay, if I'm earning over $500,000, I'm paying a lot of tax, then maybe you do want something that will save you some of those taxes because you don't have enough deductions. But if you're earning a little bit less and you have many deductions, and you say, well, my income's going to grow and I'm going to be in a higher tax bracket in another 5-10 years, or when I'm retiring, then maybe you want to have a Roth after tax where you don't have to pay tax to withdraw out of it, but you won't get the deductions. So it depends on your situation, and you need professional to dive in and deeply and say, okay, what is the situation that's going to be best for me, and what do I expect to be in those retirement years?
Great. The next question is, can you go over inheriting IRA rules?
Inheriting IRA rules, yes. So when you inherit it by death, if it occurs, make sure your beneficiaries are there. So what will happen is your beneficiaries will have available that account that it'll go to, and they will have access to the account. Now, there's a different rules regarding that. If you have 10 years within which to use that money, and depending on your age and where you are. So if you're somebody who is, say, 70 already, and your spouse dies, then you have only 2 years where you're going to have to start withdrawing once you're 72. So there are different rules, and I think the thing is to get a financial professional to go into the depth of what rules affect you based on your situation. So you need that professional advice to see how those rules are affecting you based on what it's going to look like.
Great. The next question that we have is, I started a SEP account last year. I don't have any other employees at the time. I have hired my wife starting January of this year. Is it now mandatory for her to contribute as well? Am I required to offer this to her?
If you have an IRA account, which is a SEP account, then if it's an individual retirement account, then no, you don't have to offer it to anybody else. But if she is also earning and you're giving her a paycheck and she doesn't have a retirement account, then you should open an account for her. You should make a contribution for her through her paycheck, and you should make a contribution through your paycheck. Whether you choose a traditional or a Roth, you will get a tax deduction if you're going to pay pre-tax, and if you're going to pay taxes, then it's going to be a Roth. So if you're earning a lot of income through your business, then maybe you want to consider other plans or other retirement accounts, such as simple or 401ks. They all have different rules. So you need to speak to your accountant, and you need to speak to a financial professional who will help plan those things out for you in terms of cost. If you had a 401k, or if you had a simple, or if you had a SEP, then you would have to offer it to your employees. But an IRA, you don't necessarily have to offer it because it's individually based.
Great. And again, just as a reminder for those who are still on the call, if you'd like to speak with a Charles Schwab representative, please email or please chat Counsel for USA in the Zoom, and we will put you into a breakout room. If you'd like to speak with a Charles Schwab rep at a different time, you can email rsp.epb@usa@gmail.com. We will also send out a link to a feedback survey that is also in the chat. And again, we will continue to have our Q&A, so please continue to put your questions within the chat. All right, the next question that we have is, does the income limit go away if you want to contribute after tax dollars for capital appreciation?
I'm not quite sure I understood the question fully, but I will answer based on my understanding. The contribution limits are based on your annual gross income. So if the IRS has certain limitations, then you have to look at, okay, do I fall into this gross income, annual gross income? If I'm above it, then I cannot contribute. So for example, if you're married filing jointly, and the phase out limit for an IRA account is $129,000. So if you're below that, then you're able to contribute. If you're above that, you cannot. So you may want to talk to your accountant to see where you fall in terms of your annual gross income to be able to go ahead and make that contribution.
Great. The next question that we have is, can IRA be used for college?
An IRA is retirement, but let's think about this. That's a very good question. If you make a withdrawal from retirement and you use it for college, then you've taken it out from your retirement and you haven't taken care, then you have to put that money in back. So you're not only paying for college, but then if you happen to put that money in, it's going to be after tax dollars. So you're going to pay taxes on that dollars, and then you're going to go put that money back into retirement. And whether you will be able to or not is also another question. So you have to consider that. I think the best way to do it is to not touch your retirement account, because that's for you. But you should have a separate college account that you save. And if you start early, when your child is born, or before you're even your child, when you're planning a family, you can start opening an account and you can start saving a little bit at a time. Definitely when your child is born, try to make a regular habit of opening that college account so you're not touching on your retirement account.
Mm-hmm. Great. The next question that we have is, besides maxing out on IRA, HSA, 401k, are there any other tax beneficial accounts / options for saving for retirement?
Depends on your situation. There are many other options. There are defined benefits, there are cash balance accounts. All of these have certain IRS rules and requirements. So what I suggest is that you speak to your accountant, and also to a financial advisor to help you look at what these other alternatives are and if they make sense for you. And to understand what are the rules and if you fit in those rules, because some of them are a lot more stricter.
Great. Do I need to check my Social Security statement every year?
That's a great question. Yes, you do. What you need to do is to create an account on the Social Security website, the official website. Go in and check how much money was allocated to you based on your earning. Does that match with you? They sometimes make a mistake, like everybody else. So it's good to go in and check that your Social Security allocation is correct, and so that you have, and it's good to review how much money you have designated for you that you'll be getting estimated when you retire at full retirement age. And remember that if you wait, you get 8% more monthly benefit coming to you if you wait for a little bit longer and retire at age 70.
Great. And I know I'm putting a lot of links in the chat, but I hope that all the Jamaati members can save these links for a later time. They're just valuable resources like the Social Security website, our RSP, the Retirement Savings Program homepage that's on the Smiley Insight, which is where the recording for the sessions will also be held. The email address for rsp.epb.usa@gmail.com for any other retirement questions that you may have in the future, or if you'd like to have some time with a Charles Schwab representative. So again, I know there's a lot of links in the chat, but I hope that they are helpful. The next question that we have is, how do I select what plan to go for a 529 plan? Like which state plan? Any thoughts?
So it depends. This is a retirement plan. So I'll go, generally speaking, depends on the state that you're in, what they're offering you. A lot of states offer some tax deductions. If they do, you can take advantage. If not, for example, a Coverdale is going to give you a $2,000 at the max that you can contribute, and there's a tax deduction. Different states have different rules. The performance of the taxes of the asset of 529 plans is different based on states. So you can, if you're in the central region in Texas, for example, have a look at that and see, okay, how are they performing? A lot of them have improved. If not, you can get a 529 plan created, and you can go through either your credit union or through your financial professional. They can advise you as to which are going to be better for you in terms of education and saving for you.
Great. The next question we have is, I've heard conflicting information on cash value life insurance policies. Are they a good saving vehicle for retirement?
So it depends on your situation. Obviously, you need diversification. So what is your source of income going to be? It's going to be your Social Security. It is going to be your business income, your real estate, whatever. So these are different assets. Life insurance, the correct kind, which is whole life or cash value life insurance, is one of those assets. And if you start early enough, you have built enough cash, then what happens is you can borrow from that if need be. You also need to have others. So it depends on your situation of what is the best and what diversification do you need and where it's going to work for you. So you need a professional advisor to help you plan those things out and to actually dive deep regarding your situation to see where your income sources, which we spoke about in the presentation, and does life insurance cash value fit in there. If you have other kinds of life insurance, they're not all the same. So you need a knowledge base on that, and you need somebody who's licensed and certified to be able to help you properly in that area.
Great, thank you. The next question we have is, I made a Roth IRA contribution previously, but my income was high. What can I do now?
If you've made a Roth contribution and your income is higher now and you're in a higher bracket, depends on what you're going to be doing. Are you in business? Are you a professional? If you're a professional, then you can contribute in the company 401k. If you're in a business, then you could maybe do a simple or a SEP, some of the other avenues that are available. And so you need to talk to your accountant to see which other avenues available with a professional to help you plan those out and which will make sense for you.
Great. Any thoughts on how to select a financial advisor?
Sure. Who do you trust? Have a look to understand how they're certified, how are you comfortable with them, what is their knowledge base, and based on that, then make a decision and ask them a lot of questions like you would for anything else. And do they have the knowledge base to help you where you need it to be? So just like you choose an accountant or any other professional, just make sure that they are certified and they are there to and have the knowledge base to be able to help you, and they're licensed within your state in where they're going to be helping you.
Do we have any resources with AKEPB for financial advisors?
Yes, so there is a directory with the FLPP. You can email to the AKEPB, the RSP, and we will forward that email, and you can get a directory on the financial advisors that are there that are licensed. You can also get it from the American Chamber, Ismaili Chamber of Commerce, and they have a directory as well, so you are able to access those information.
Great, sounds good. Can you please elaborate on annuities? How does it work?
Annuities are also a different asset or bucket. There are fixed annuities generally, and there are variable annuities as well. Which one is going to work for you and how they work? Different companies offer different annuities. They work differently. So you need somebody knowledgeable, where we are not in a space to be able to do that. But you need to understand as to how they work and whether they make sense for you.
Great. The next question that we have is, why is saving in HSA important for retirement and long-term care?
Sure. That's a great question. So HSA, which is a health savings account, is a triple tax advantage account, which means that when you are saving money, you are going to be, it's going to be taken out of your paycheck. There's no taxes to pay. In fact, it'll reduce your tax burden that you pay on your W-2. Secondly, it's going to grow tax-free. And then if you use it for your medical expenses, then what's going to happen is that there's no cost for it, only for medical expenses. So imagine that if you are able to save for a family for either $7,000 that you're able to for 2022 or $3,200 for a single person, and you save that month every year, that money will grow, and in your later years in retirement, you can use it for medical expenses as the growth as the expenses are going up for the medical care that you may or may not need. So it's a great thing to have somebody to help save that money. There's also a flexible savings account, but that changes and does not roll over every year like a health savings account. And health savings account, importantly, are also only with high deductible plans. So you have to have a high deductible plan to have an HSA attached to it.
Great, thank you. The next question that we have is, at what age should an individual look into long-term care options?
Obviously, the earlier that you start, the better it is, like with everything else. So, but definitely you should start looking at it before the age of 50 because costs also increase. So about the age of 40, you should start trying to understand what it is. And if you're able to even earlier, that's even better. You're ahead of the curve. So I recommend that you start even in your 20s, 25s, when you have your first job, to start understanding, learning about it, and then making choices as to, okay, when I should, because there's a long window, just like retirement, of when you will be needing it. All right.
Great, thank you. And just as a reminder, again, for those who are on the line, if you'd like to speak with a Charles Schwab representative today, please message Counsel for USA. And if you have any other questions, please continue to put them in the chat. We have a few more minutes left for Q&A, so we want to make sure that we have time to answer all the questions that are coming through. The next question that we have, can I open an IRA account if I don't have legal status?
So depends on where your status is. If you are have a Social Security number or a tax ID number, and you have earned income, and you are a resident of the US, then yes, you can. But you have to have those things to be able to open an IRA account. If you do not have any of those, then you will not be able to open an account.
Got it. Thank you. Are there any tax matching credits from the IRS?
Yes, I think we went over the tax savers credit. So if you're earning certain income and you're below that income, then you get 50, 20, or 10% credit based on what your annual gross income is. And it's very useful. I think the example we gave in the presentation was that if you're married and filing jointly and you are getting, you earn less than $41,000. And if you and your spouse each contribute $2,000, that's $4,000. And so you get a 50% credit. So now instead of paying the $2,000, $2,500, you're paying $500 in taxes. So do speak to your accountant to have access and apply that savers credit that IRS allows you to have and contribute to your retirement.
Great. All righty. And again, if you have any questions, please submit them in the chat. We'll take our last few questions. The next question we have, can you explain the difference between fixed and variable annuity?
I think I just fixed annuity and a variable annuity. In fixed, you only get a certain amount of, it is fixed in the amount of interest you get and what monthly payment you get. Variable is it's the investment interest is going to be different, and the amount of income, because of the risk is higher, you're going to get a different amount coming or being given back to you.
Okay. Is it the same as standard deduction?
Sorry, I didn't understand that question. What is the same as a standard deduction? If they can rephrase that and answer that question again, that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. The next question that we have is, what is the deadline for opening an IRA account for this year?
So the deadline is that if you have to open it before your tax contribution, before your tax has been filed. So if the tax date is April the 15th, you should have it opened and funded by end of March. If you're a business owner and you have filed an extension, then you may have additional time, but you have to label it correctly to say that this is my last year's contribution or this year's contribution. So for 2022, the deadline is going to be April 15th, 2023, and you have to have it open before. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to open your account now and then make the monthly contribution that you have. So by December 31st, 2022, you have paid all that contribution and you've maxed it out. That's the best way to do it. So then it's clear cut, you know.
Great. And the clarification that we got is standard deduction the same as tax savers credit?
No, it isn't. It's different. Standard deduction is different from the tax savers credit.
Okay. Great. Is it better for me to go for life versus whole life and invest the difference myself?
That depends. Sorry.
I'll repeat that question again.
Thank you.
Is it better for me to go for term life versus whole life and invest the difference myself?
That depends on your situation and what type of product you're looking at. So what you need to do is to have a financial advisor to explain the type of product, what company is, what are the benefits of pros and cons. And it depends on your individual situation based on what goal it is. So you need financial professional to be able to help you and advise you correctly for that.
Great. All right. I think those are all the questions that we have. Again, thank you so much for everyone who has stayed on the line and joined us this Sunday for our retirement savings program for the Central. A very big thank you to our Charles Schwab representative and national partners who have been here through our sessions for many, many years and continue to support us in our efforts to make sure that all Jamaati members have retirement savings account. I've put a few more links in the chat. If you could please fill out a quick feedback survey from today's session, that would be greatly appreciated. We want to continue to serve our Jamaat and make sure that we are providing the right information. So please, we really do appreciate your feedback. A recording of this session will be sent out via email with a survey link in the next few days, but we recommend that you bookmark our Smiley Insight page that I have posted within the chat for any other information, such as the recording, any really great articles about contribution, HSA, long-term care, Social Security, etc. And finally, if you have any questions, please email our rsp.epb.usa@gmail.com. Our team is here to answer any questions that you have about retirement savings, connect you with a Charles Schwab representative after today's session, and make sure that you have all the information that you need to plan for your retirement. So again, thank you so much for joining us this Sunday, and we hope that you have a good rest of your evening. Thank you. Yali Madat.